After months of speculation as to who would next challenge Ronda Rousey for the women's bantamweight title, we now have that answer. Welcome into MMA Live Extra. My name is Todd Grisham, and the challenger will be Alexis Davis, July the 5th. For more on this fight, we welcome in MMA writer for ESPN.com, Brett Okamoto. Brett, what are your initial reactions on Rousey versus Davis?
You know, I'm not terribly surprised that it's going to be Alexis Davis fighting Ronda Rousey and not one of the other names that were out there speculated. You had Holly Holm, you had Chris Justino, Cyborg, you had Gina Carano, and then Kat Zingano. All four of those would have been terrific fights, or at least very sellable fights for the UFC when it comes to Ronda Rousey, but they all came with question marks. The three of those four are not even signed to the UFC right now, and Kat Zingano has been through a personal tragedy, injuries over the last year. So I think within the time frame, the UFC wanted Ronda Rousey to fight. It really came down to that Alexis Davis was the only one available. And I think when you talk about that fight, the biggest problem the UFC is going to have with it is how will it market it to a casual fan who probably does not know who Alexis Davis is and probably thinks it'll be a blowout. That'll be a challenge that the UFC has with this matchup.
Well, how does Alexis Davis beat Ronda Rousey? Is there a blueprint for her?
Alexis Davis, if you haven't seen her, is a very talented fighter. She's also very well-rounded. She does everything correct, and she can be very dangerous on the ground, which is important when you're fighting Ronda Rousey. You got to be able to deal a little bit with what she does with her judo background, and I think that Alexis Davis is sort of capable of doing that. But athletically, she's not on the same level of Ronda Rousey. She's not going to be faster. She's not going to be stronger. She's going to come in with a lot of confidence. That's just how her personality is. She's a naturally confident girl. But she's got a tough task ahead of her because she does like to grapple, and anybody who likes to grapple with Ronda Rousey, typically it hasn't gone their way.
Well, you mentioned that the UFC has a problem trying to sell this fight and pretty much any fight that Ronda Rousey's in because she's been so dominant and there aren't many other big-name fighters. The one fighter that Ronda Rousey said she'd move up to 145 pounds to face was Gina Carano. Do you think that fight is anywhere on the horizon?
I think that fight could definitely still happen until Gina Carano comes out and says, you know what, sorry guys, I'm retired. I'm not coming back to the cage. It's been 5 years since she's fought, but she still has kind of hinted that it's something that she would like to do. Until she comes out and kills that and says, nope, I'm done, there will always be a possibility of this. The UFC is going to be interested in it. Rousey has said that she's very interested in it, of course. There are some things that need to happen first in order for that fight to happen. But no, it's not dead, and it's something that I don't think we've heard the last of for sure.
Well, we're keeping that speculation on fire. Will it happen? Rousey versus Gina Carano. We'll find out soon enough. But first up, it'll be Alexis Davis and Rousey July 5th. Thanks for your time. That is Brett Okamoto from Las Vegas, Nevada. That'll do it for this edition of MMA Live Extra. Make sure and keep it tuned right here to ESPN.com/MMA for all the latest breaking news from the world of mixed martial arts. Until next time, I'm Todd Grisham. Keep fighting.